every time she reaches out, I mean, and I'll even, throughout the semester to be like, where are we at, where are
Is
we
she
at?
gonna pass her 680?
I have to go back and look. Oh, she's gonna pass this semester.
Well, and part of the problem is she dropped nursing research, which is probably part of the reason that she hasn't gotten anything done.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, she just keeps putting it on the back burner.
they're so stupid sometimes.
Because she wants to, she wants to focus on her classes. It was last year she called me and said, I need to drop to part-time just because I can't handle all of this anymore. So we dropped her down to part-time, but then she's still struggling to progress, so. No, and she had a terrible clinical rotation, like I told her she needed to find a new clinical for this semester, cause she was seeing like 3 patients.
Oh,
Like the whole semester, so she wasn't even, the guy she was with was an excellent teacher in Lakewood, but there's only so much you can learn by sitting at a table with somebody having a conversation. So, I told her she needed to find, that those hours should not count, and that she needed to find a new site. So,
did she?
I don't know. I don't know if she ever did or didn't.
Okay, we've got our hours here. I'm clearly too much open.
Yeah.
It's sitting on my desktop. Nope, that's not it. I calculated her hours this morning, and it looks like all she has left is 150 in 650. But if she's not getting the hours, like if she's not actually seeing patients, and she's just logging table hours, that's just not acceptable.
I would agree, so I did her site visit, gosh, it was at least February, and I said no, and at that time, she was already looking for another preceptor, and she said, I think I have something else lined up, so then I don't have her in class for
Yeah.
regular, I have her in clinical apps, so I never did check with her to see if she found somebody else.
Joyce, has Teresa Hansen documented clinical hours this semester?
Yes,
How many?
I have it on that list.
She's in clinical apps,
Yeah, she was 6:45.
5:45.
5:45.
5:45.
Did she turn in her evaluation forms on that?
Yes.
Did she have more than one preceptor?
Hey, look. She had one.
But she never bothered to switch.
Is there a patient log in there?
She doesn't get to log hours in observations.
No, and I saw her fairly early in the semester, so I'm like, no, you're not gonna learn
You
anything.
can write that down.
This way, yes, it's all documented.
Well, evidently she's gonna go to Mindy Roberts.
That's good, and we had talked about that, cause I
That would be
said,
good.
I gave her the names of as many of them as I knew.
Well, I don't have a problem with her doing half her hours in the fall and half in the spring for 650. I really don't, especially if she's gonna get Mindy, cause Mindy will get her, she'll see people.
Yeah,
But I'm not willing to pass her if she has not done actual patient hours.
yeah.
I mean, she doesn't get to she can't, I don't understand these people who don't wanna they should want all the complications they can get.
Well, and her preceptor is one who said something to me. He said, we're not seeing patients. He goes, whatever the reason is, he goes, I'm just not busy on the days that she's here with patients that are appropriate for her to see.
Andrea?
So,
I'm waiting for Penny as well.
You're waiting for what?
Penny and the three of us are.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Are you done? How many hours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my office?
You are, you're a nice clean office.
Go ahead, my next clean
I
up,
just-
go
I
ahead and
just
shut the
saw-
door.
I just saw that, they showed, that people who are messy like this are actually geniuses.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, I've seen show hoarders, but I think they're always-
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Well, have a seat. I'm seldom at a loss for words, a lot of times when it comes to students, but I think your poster presentation did that to me.
Okay.
And I guess I want you to explain to Tricia and I, what you feel the purpose of a poster presentation is.
Was to share the research paper with.
Okay.
I put together.
Right. Share research, share your knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and, as nurses, you're gonna have to do poster presentations. Going forward, you're gonna have to do poster presentations if you go back for your DNP, even at work, you know, in your profession, you're gonna have to do poster presentation. Poster presentations is not a time to, air grievances. It's not a time to, talk about, I guess, ignorance of physicians, or physicians who don't know, feel that they don't know what they should know. And a lot of that came out in the poster presentation on Tuesday.
Are you referring to what I meant, or what I was saying, why the LDL schooling is on the disease?
Right.
Or?
Right, to say that you wanna go back to school, especially the clerk comment, I will not go back to clerk, but not a clerk.
I
You
put
know?
that in just only because for 3 years I've talked about going for my DNP, and the very next question every faculty member has asked me was here at Clark, and that's the only reason I put that in. It wasn't anything negative to it on there. It was more of a preemptive, and no, I'm not going back, just because I've heard that question so many times that that was the only reason I said that.
So is that part of presenting your research? Which is the purpose of your poster presentation? To tell people you're not gonna come back to Clark?
No, I had that under the communication, or the not the communication goal, but the
Compass
the
outcome.
compass outcomes is the advanced knowledge, or how, sorry, I'm drawing a blank on.
That's part of sharing your research, sharing your presentation, sharing your project, basically. But denigrating the program for yourself, it's like, you can think whatever you want about the program. But there were how many people in this class?
24.
24 students in
23,
this
yeah.
class,
Yeah.
and 2 faculty member, and you're denigrating the program to them. They may be very happy with the program, so that's your personal opinion, and it has no place in that presentation. It has no place in presenting your research. And it's really a problem from a professional standpoint, from professionalism standpoint. It's a big black mar on your level of professionalism. You just don't denigrate your own program, and you certainly don't denigrate other people's programs. And that's what you did to the rest of the students in the class. I mean, they may be perfectly happy with the program, and they may be proud of the program. And you come along and say, well, I'm gonna go do my DNP, but I'm sure not gonna do it here.
I'm sorry if it came across that way. It wasn't my intent on there.
It doesn't matter what your intent is, it's the perception of the people who are in the audience listening to you. You have to think about the cascade of consequences every time you open your mouth. And when you opened your mouth and you said that, the cascade of consequences was exceedingly negative.
Okay.
So you denigrated the program that other people are going to, that other people may be proud of, and you happen to not like it, or not be proud of it, or not want to come back for whatever reason. And it's just really not professional. And then to denigrate
everybody in the world because you think you're the smartest person in the world on lymphedema is probably not real good either. I mean, you know, you're graduating as a nurse, you're gonna be working as a nurse, you're gonna be working with interdisciplinary teams, you're gonna be working with physical therapists and social workers and physicians and God knows who else. I mean, a bazillion people. You can't denigrate other professions. You just can't. Now, if there is evidence, published evidence, that there's a problem with lymphedema, you can talk about the published evidence. But you don't get to say nobody knows jack about this except me.
That was looking at the poster that the picture I presented with that information of the lack of hours is part of the submission to the government for the Lymphedema Treatment Act
Mm-hmm.
on there. So that's documented on there from their site and everything, that this is how
You
the
need to be very
education
clear. You need to
is.
be very clear about that, and not flippant about it. Not denigrating other professionals. You gotta. What's the bottom line here? You gotta up your professional game here.
Because what's on the poster is different than what you say in class and what you said in class. And again, and it wasn't just, you know, it wasn't the perception just of instructors who were in the class, it's the perception also of the students who are in class. And, you know, you talk about yourself being the adult, you talk about yourself being the oldest one in class, but for professionalism and maturity, there are 23 other students in that class that I would say are had a very professional and mature poster presentations than you did. And you're supposed to be the role model. You're supposed to be, you know, the eldest in the class, as you put it. But the example you're serving for them is, you know, it just floors me sometimes to think about, you know, what they're, you know, and it wasn't just, you know, the students were affected by it too. They really were. Thought it was unprofessional. Couldn't believe that you were saying those things. So it's not just coming from me, I want you to know.
Okay.
This issue of professionalism is really exceedingly important. You know, and it's gonna reflect on you, and it's gonna reflect on your education, and it's gonna reflect on us. How you present yourself in terms of professional behavior. You know, and we would be doing you a disservice if we didn't call you on this and let you think about it and reflect on your own behavior, because you can go out there and you can denigrate anybody you want, and people are going to turn out not wanting to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going to say, what a jerk, I'm not working with him, what a jerk, you know, he denigrates everybody around him. You do that, you're going to alienate a lot of people. And you're not going to be happy where you're working, no matter where it is. People just don't tolerate it very well. And especially right now, especially, it's getting worse and worse and worse. You just can't say negative things about stuff. And when you start saying negative things about your own alma mater, almost, you're denigrating your own education in their eyes. You're saying, oh, I went to Clark, but it's a crappy program. I wouldn't go there for anything. I wouldn't do a DNP there. I wouldn't go on there. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. And I'm not saying that's what you're going to say.
Yeah, not at all.
But in class, you said, but not at Clark. I'm not going back to Clark. You know, probably all of us come out of our programs and go, I'm never going back to school again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I certainly did. I came out of every one of my programs and I'm never going back to school again. I never denigrated the schools I went to, because it's my own education. Why would I denigrate my own education?
Right.
But that's what you're doing.
Okay.
So you need to pay attention to that. You owe your class an apology. You really do. And I'd like to see that apology take place.
Okay.
And explain why you said what you said. Just so that they understand with clarity why you said it. Because I don't think they understood it.
Okay.
Okay? All right, and hopefully you're not going to be talking about that in that manner. Just be careful that when you open your mouth and you talk about another profession, another program, someone else's education, an educational program, that you don't denigrate their program. Cause people take it very personally.
Mhm.
And we don't want you out there representing Clark, denigrating Clark.
Right.
Regardless of what you might think about your education here.
Right.
And when you actually get out there, you'll realize you got a darn good education here.
Yeah, and they said, sorry, that was not my intent at all, it was more of a preemptive, again, just based on my past experiences, anytime I've mentioned that to other staff and students and everyone out in clinical sites and everything, are you looking to do it at Clark? And that was just my only, no, I'm not doing it at Clark, just preemptive, heading the question off,
What's the
so.
implication of that statement though? You know, it's like, it leaves a big hole with like, well, why wouldn't he do it at Clark? Did he have such a bad experience at Clark? And which may be why you're not gonna do it at Clark.
No,
And that's fine, you know, that's fine. You know, you don't do it at Clark, that's okay. A lot of people don't do their DMP at
Yeah.
Clark. And I'm sure that you'll find a program that will suit you, but you don't need to denigrate Clark in the process.
Sure.
Okay?
Mhm.
Alright, good.
Okay.
Need to do anything else?
Nope, I think that's it.
How would you like me to apologize, in person, one-on-one, emails, send that, just for,
What
You
is
should
best?
probably just do it casually in class.
Fine, we got two.
You could say
two
it was a reflection, you did a reflection on your presentation and this was a problem, you shouldn't have said this. You know, you should have been more clear about your intent in what you were saying. Cause it doesn't come across as a preemptive strike on anything. It comes across as a denigration of your program.
Well, and physicians too, when you talked about the physicians not knowing anything, and, it came across that way very strongly too. About the physicians, because they're gonna be working with those physicians, and now they're thinking maybe doctors don't know anything, you know, and.
Doctors know a lot. Physicians know a lot. They're actually, you shouldn't call them doctors, you call them physicians. They know a lot. And everybody doesn't know a lot about everything, but people do know a lot. There are a lot of people out there who know a lot about lymphedema,
Mhm.
lots of
Yeah.
them. They maybe aren't right here, but there are lots of them who do.
Mhm.
So, it's just really poor form to denigrate another profession, regardless of what you think about that profession.
Is it nothing to do with my thought, that was just from the
Again, you're not
documentation, so-
thinking,
I get
your level of professionalism needs to hike up, cause you're not thinking before you open your mouth. Think before you open your mouth. Think about what you are saying and the words that are gonna come out of your mouth and how they are going to be interpreted. Cause it's all about the perception of the people you're talking to. So your intention doesn't matter. You can't take it back once you open up and say it. So you're gonna have to be really careful about what you say when you open your mouth. So I think you should apologize to them in person.
And to Patty, you know, Patty's been here a long time and taught a long time. It was, you know, I've only had you a year, but, I thought it was just very, very rude, and, unprofessional.
Okay.
And, you know, for Patty to hear that, you know, about a program she's given her life to,
Yeah, 17 years or so.
so.
You know, it's kind of interesting. You know, I think a lot of people go through their programs and they think, oh, I just have to get out of here. You know, it's just like I'm just done with this place. And then you get out there and you go, holy smokes, I really got a good education. And you did get a good education here. You maybe don't realize it, but you will when you get out there and you start working. And I think if you talk to some other nurses, they'll tell you the same thing, that they didn't think they got a good education in their program, and they got out there and they went, holy buckets, I really did get a good education, I knew what I'm doing. And they see other nurses coming in who don't know what they're doing. Hopefully you'll be one who knows what you're doing.
It's like kids leaving home. It's like, I can't wait to get out of here.
Oh, yeah, and
After
then, you
college and they
know,
realize,
my
oh, my
daughter had a
goodness.
child, and all of a sudden I had at least 20 more IQ points.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was like an automatic thing, and
Yeah.
you know, my sister complained about her nursing program the whole time she was in school, and she got out to work. She's an ICU nurse, and within a couple months of getting out there, she said, "Oh, I can't believe." She goes, I complained about that program the whole time I was in it, but now I realize how much I know and how grateful I am for that knowledge. Cause she said, I've got a good education, and she still says it, and she's been doing it for 25 years. Because she sees graduates coming in from other programs, and she's like, oh boy, they did not get the preparation that I got. So hopefully you are well prepared, and hopefully you will appreciate it when you get out. But I would be really leery about denigrating your own program, because it denigrates your own education. So you probably didn't think about that in terms of the perception that it might be. Anyway, alright. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. That's it. So, I guess if you wanna talk to them today, or you just wanna get prepared and talk to them before poster presentations next week, it's up to you.
Yeah, I like to prepare, make sure
Okay.
run it by first.
That's fine.
Yeah, just reflect a bit on the impression that you make when you talk. I think it's a great, it's a great moment to just think about the words that come out of your mouth and the cascaded consequences that relate to those words. I like to think about cascaded consequences.
Yeah, true.
It's always good, because it's like, well, okay, if I do this, if I do A, then God, B will happen, and then what about C? And will B affect C, and will C affect D? I mean, it's just, it's really important, really important. So, all right,
Okay.
good.
Good.
All right, thank you for coming in.
Different tomorrow at 9 o'clock or 9:30 is then the meeting for this night?
9 o'clock for prep. 9 o'clock for prep, and then, yeah, roughly about 9 o'clock, yeah.
Alrighty.
You're doing the whole day, right?
Yep.
Okay.